Hi, I'm Char Crail. Welcome to the Art of Making Art via Photography. Want to learn some cool Photoshop stuff? Great, because here we go. Hello. I am going to show you how to make a texture starting from a simple blank page. So we're going to do Command N on the Mac and it's Control N on a PC. And we'll start with a document I've got set up at 12 by 12 inches and the resolution of 300. And I'm just going to say, okay, I want my background contents as white, and that's how it's set. So here, we're going to start simple and go to Filter and pull down to Filter Gallery. And we're at halftone pattern. Now I've got this set at the size of 12 and a contrast of 50 because I think it's very cool to have very intense black stripes like that. I'm just going to say okay. So now we've got a 12 by 12 page that has these black stripes on it. Now let's go ahead and just mess with these a little bit. Let's check out what we could do with distort, for example. Let's do a wave. Wow, that looks fun, doesn't it? So just adjust these adjustments here so that you can see what you can kind of get an idea what it looks like and how many number of generators you want, and it's just decision making is all this is. And I'm going to say okay and see what happens. That is really cool. Okay, I like that a lot actually. So let's look at it a little bit smaller. It's kind of an optical illusion though. But let's add some color to it. All right, let's see. Let's go ahead and put a new layer on top. And we're going to fill that layer with, for example, some blue. I'm going to use the bucket here and just see that I'm on my layer 1. I'm just going to drop some blue in there. And let's put this at overlay and see what that does. Let's try it at darken just for the fun of it and see. Well, that's actually really beautiful, isn't it? I like that. Maybe I'll lighten it overall. Actually, let's not do that. Let's change our opacity just slightly. Beautiful. Okay, so there it is. Now, in order to keep that just as it is, we're going to flatten that image, and then we're going to save it. So we're going to save it as, we called it a wave, blue. And I put 1212 at the end because I think it's often a handy thing to know exactly what size you made something. Okay, so we're just going to save it as a Photoshop document right in my texture demo folder. And there you have it. So we're going to create another texture now, but this one's going to be a little more subtle than the last one we did. And so we're going up to Filter, again in Photoshop, and we're going to pull down to Noise this time, and we're going to add some noise. So it comes up at 68.32, and let's raise that a little bit. We can kind of see, it's a slight difference. We're going to keep it at monochromatic and say okay. So now we've got a texture to work with, but I'd like to have it, instead of being gray, I'd like to give it a little bit of color. So we're going to Image, Adjustments, and we're going to pull down to where it says Photo Filter. Now we do have some options that are already created for us. Here's an orange filter. The density is set at 25%, so it doesn't show very much. So we can alter that. Let's bring it up to go all the way to 100 and see. We can try another yellow and see what that looks like. We could do magenta. We can also just simply choose a color and click it on our own and find one that we like. I'm definitely going to go for the more brownish tones this time. Something that's a little more subtle, maybe a little more orange in it, a little more red, and say okay. And we're leaving the density at 100% because I think that actually looks quite good. Now we can also make adjustments here with our color balance. I'm going to add some more yellow, I'm going to add some more red, I'm going to add some more magenta, give it a little more richness. So there you go. So let's give this a little bit more texture as well. So under Filter, we can come up to Oil Paint, for example. This is kind of fun. Look at this awesome texture. So we can alter the stylization, we can alter the cleanliness. Just move these numbers up and around a little bit. It's always good to try stuff and just see where it goes if you go to extremes. Like this is the scale is at 10 on this one. These are our options from 0.1 to 10. Actually looks quite good. We can also look at our angular direction of our lighting. We can adjust that. We can adjust the shine. As you can see, wherever it just shows more depth by putting a shine on the edge. I think I'd like to keep it a little more subtle, so I'm going to pull that down, and we can play with the stylization a little bit more, and I'm going to say okay. And there we have quite a nice texture. Let's blow it up so you can have a little better look at that. That looks pretty darn good. I like it a lot. Now from here, you could either save it, or you can still alter the color. Command B for color balance, or Control B if you're on a PC. And I think I'm going to warm it up a little bit more, put a little more red and a little more yellow and say OK. So there you go. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and I'm going to call it, what do I want to call this? I'm just going to call it orange. And it's 12 by 12, and I'm putting it in my texture demo folder. So there you go.